Hi guys, and welcome to the first part of the Quantitative Trading Analytics project solution video. In this video number 1, we are going to cover the import data, the data importation. The video will be divided in 3 points. First of all, we are going to check the import of the different packages, which means the basics ones, and if you import rightly the API that I propose you. Again, you can use different API if you want to import data through Alpha Venture or Quendel, you are free to do. But right here in this project, I propose you to import data through Pandas Data Router and more precisely Yahoo Finance API. Once we have covered this first point on different packages that you will have to import, we will go in the second step into how we are going to import market data, which means for the advanced track you will have to automate the market data importation, whilst for the beginner pass you will have to do it manually. And in the last point and in the last part of this video solution number 1, you will have to check out how you can export the data that you have imported into a CSV file. Indeed, this step is more to have a professional track on the data that you have imported, to be able to check out afterwards if you have an issue, let's say when you're building your algorithm, on which part of it does this issue is coming from. If you have a track on after each change that you have made, by exporting it to a CSV file, you will be able to find out what you have done. And that's always good to export the data that you imported from the market in order, as I explained just before, to have a track on it and to keep it and store it on the side. Okay guys, let's start with the first part of the solution. First of all, you will have to import your raw packages, the basics one, which means Pandas, NumPy and Plotly. That's something that you will have to steadily import. You can use Matplotlib as well, you are free to use. I'm using Plotly because from my point of view it's more convenient. Once you have imported your basic packages, you will have to import your API and datetime package and then define the start and end date right here. Okay, what you will have to do here is to, from Pandas Data Reader, import data and WP, and in a second time you will have to import your datetime package in order to be sure that you will use the right format for the date. Once both steps have been executed, you will have to define the start and end date from the 1st January 2018 until the 1st of June 2020. That's what you will have to do right here. That's all for the first part, which is importing the raw packages. And on top of that, you have set up your start and end date in order to don't have to write the date in the loop or in your different query in order to ask market data. You will just have to set up your start date, your start variable and end variable. Okay, right now let's go back on what you have to do in part 2 and 3, which means importing market data and store it in a CSV file. Okay, let's go guys. For the advanced level task, what you will have to do is to automate a loop in order to import market data for each one of the tickers and store it into CSV file with the ticker name plus data, or if you don't want to use data, you can just set up with a ticker name. What I have done here for the CSV file is, for instance, that's gonna publish it into twtr data.csv. Right here is just a solution of an automation. You can have thousands of solutions how you can automate a loop in order to build it. In the first step, you will have to set up your tickers. For instance, here we have 4 tickers, but let's say if you have 50 different companies that you want to compare, you will have 50 different tickers, and instead of each time having a line to import data for each one of the tickers, you just set up your ticker names, and that's gonna download the data automatically. Once you have done that, you will have to check up the length of your list or of your tickers. How many tickers do you have? And set up I equals 0, but you can have another name. I set up as I because I'm get used to do that, but you can type A, but if you type A, you're gonna have to change it here and here. Yeah, and as well as in the different part of the loop, because we are going to check the ticker number I plus is uploading data, or to store into a variable name you will need I, but you got what I meant, I believe. Okay, once you have the length of the number of tickers that you have, what you will have to do is to set up a loop. What this loop is saying that while I is lower than the length, which means like while I is lower than 3, because as you may be aware, I guess if you are in the advanced level track, you must be aware about that. This index is 0 and this index is 3. And while y is lower than 3, what the loop gonna do is like print first of all the ticker number y plus is uploading data. For instance, that's gonna start by twtr is uploading data, then Netflix is uploading data, Snap is uploading data, and Uber is uploading data. Right here, because we have only 4 tickers, the loop is quite fast, but let's say if you have 50 stock shares to download or to query, that can take tremendous amount of time, and mainly if the date range is quite big, it's quite massive, that can take more or less time. Okay, once you have set up this informative line, you will have to ask to create a local variable that will be called by the name of the ticker plus data. But if you want to do like to name it df, that's fine, you're just gonna have to change it here, df, but here what I typed is data with the name where you are going to call data reader. You are going to call your API with the ticker name, twtr, etc. until the end of the range of tickers that you are going to ask, plus Yahoo Finance API, start date equals start and end date equal end. That's not mandatory to do that, you can just type start and end, but that's always good to be more conservative. Once you have achieved that, once the data have been stored in a variable, what you are going to do, you are going to store this data into a CSV file with the ticker name plus data CSV, but again you can just set up the ticker name.csv, that's gonna be working fine as well. To conclude this loop, you will just set up y equal y plus 1. You have 2 ways to do that. Something which is totally identical is this way to work with, but I believe this way is more elegant, more fancy, and that's always more impressive for my eyes to do it. And it's that's totally equal to what I just typed just before. Just a way to say y equal y plus 1. You can say y plus equal 1. That's gonna be exactly the same, which means that we are going to start by y equals 0, print the ticker for 0 plus uploading data, then store it in a variable name with this name plus data that you're gonna be able to check out here by importing the data and store it into a CSV file. That's all for the loop. Once you have achieved the loop, you are going to check out if the data imported are right by, for instance, typing Netflix data, and you can check it for Snap and Uber as well. Let's check for Snap. Yes, the data for Snap have been imported correctly, and the start date and end date look to be right. You can always open the CSV file and check out if the data are alright, but this small cross check is totally enough from my point of view. And Uber as well. And as you can see here for Uber, the start date is different. The start date is the 10th of May 2019. For the main reason that Uber have been introduced into the New York Stock Exchange on the 10th of May. Okay, that's all for the part 1 of the solution. In the next part, we are going to check out about data visualization and how to introduce calculated field into your data frame in order to be able to have a better vision of the value of different stocks. See you in the next video, guys.